Hi y'all, I'm glad y'all are here. What I'm going to do today is just show you how I do my magic circles for when I'm going to start amigurumis or anytime that I'm going to be crocheting in the rounds, right? So you of course use whatever yarn you're going to use with. They're a little bit different, like with the acrylic and the cotton, there's not much, they close up relatively well. When I find that I run into problems is when I'm trying to use like the chenille yarn, and sometimes even with the blanket yarn, depending on how you pull it. So with the chenille and the blanket, you have to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more gentle when you're closing it up so that it doesn't go ahead and just break on you. What we're going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do the magic circle. And the magic circle comes in handy. You see it in a lot of patterns, but I like using the magic circle because it doesn't leave any little hole in the middle. There's nothing there. So that's why I like to use the magic circle, because sometimes it got, with the other way, it guess it leaves a little hole in there. So I take this end of the yarn, okay? I'm gonna put it like this over the back of my fingers. I'm gonna hold it, right? I'm gonna go around these two fingers. So I'm gonna bring it up and over those two fingers. Then I'm gonna bring it back down. So I'm on the underside of the fingers again. I'm just gonna make an X right there and bring it back around. And there's many ways to do this. This is just the way I do it. Then I'm going to put my hook under this first strand of yarn right here, under this first strand. I'm going to go over the next strand. So I'm going under this one, but over this one, right? So under, over this one, but then I'm going to pull this strand of yarn through or under the first strand, and I'm going to just twist my hook. So I've twisted my hook, right? And then actually this yarn right here, that is the working yarn, right? That's the working yarn. I'm going to go ahead, go under it, right? So I've got the yarn over the hook, and I'm going to pull it through that little part that I twisted. Just like that. And that is my magic circle, my magic ring, and then I am ready to start crocheting. So we're going to go ahead and do it again. I'm going to just take that off. I'm going to undo that. So the non-working end, put it on the back of my finger, come around, wrap it around the top of my two fingers, come on the bottom, make an X, right? Bring it around the top. So that's what I have. That's what I have. I'm still holding this end because if I don't hold this end, I might lose it, right? And I just always, when I finish this one, I put that right there just to hold a little tension so it's not flopping all over the place. I'm going to go under this strand. I'm going to pull the next strand like that. I'm twisting that yarn right there. So I'm going to do that part again, okay? So I've got my yarn where it needs to be. I'm going to go under this one. I'm going to pull that one through. I am twisting. So that's what that looks like. Twisting that, right? And then this part right here that I'm holding the tension on, I'm going to just yarn over, and I'm going to pull it through that little twist. And I am ready. Now you see where this is kind of going in like this? I leave mine like that. I don't undo it. I just go and leave it just exactly the way it is. Okay? And then I'll just hold that just so it doesn't come apart. And we're going to go ahead and start single crocheting, right? So you would 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then what you do at that point is you still have just a circle like that, right? Well, what you do is you take this little end, and this is the magic. This is where the magic happens, because you saw that hole, right? But look, you just pull on that. Now, if you pull too hard, you know, your yarn may break. So just be cautious of that. And like I said at the beginning, with the chenille and the blanket yarn, it breaks a lot. But you pull that, and so your hole is closed. There's no hole. And so then you go back into your first single crochet, and whether you're doing a slip stitch or whether you're just crocheting in the round. And a lot of times that one that we chain when we come around and we pick up, you know, it might be confusing to you, but you can always just go, we don't count the one on the hook, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's where we started. So in this case, we can't really see the chain. It's kind of like squished in there. But in my case, I normally just crochet in the round. I don't do the slip stitching. So I would just go right into that first one, and then I would start my single crochets again. Of course, use my stitch marker to mark my spot, right? So that would, you know, for me, this would tell me that that's my first stitch, and then I would do whatever my stitches are. Now, if I'm going to go ahead and show you this, because a lot of people believe that if you do the magic circle, it's not ever going to come apart. That's not necessarily true, okay? Okay, and you can already see that's my magic circle where we started. Remember how tight it was? So it does come undone if you don't secure it. So this can happen, you know, and you don't want this. The whole reason of the magic circle, you know, you don't want that whole. The whole reason of the magic circle is not to have that hole. So what I like to do is, once I have a few rows, a few rounds in, I go ahead and I pull it tight, and then I go ahead and weave it in and around and make little knots if I have to. So just to show you. Because I know a lot of people can't figure out how to do the magic circle, or a lot of people, like, it comes undone, and it's because you're not securing it. And I mean, it's just magic into the fact that it makes that little hole disappear, but if you don't secure it, it can come undone. And so I saw that it did that little knot. Now in this case, I'm not trying to hide the knot or anything, because normally what I do is amigurumis, and so it's going to go inside the work. Obviously, if you're doing something that's not amigurumi, you would want to make sure that, you know, be cautious of where you're putting your yarn, you know, and make sure that all of that is hidden, right? But in my case, it's going to be on the inside, so it's fine. But just make sure that it is nice and secure. And now there's no hole. I've secured it, and I can go ahead and crochet and do whatever I need to do. Okay? So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you again. I know that you can go back and replay it, but I'm going to go ahead and show you again. So lay the short end over my finger, go over the top, come back around the bottom. I do the X on the bottom, just bring it back, and I hold that. You see, might just slide right under my thumb right there. Just slide it right under my thumb, and I'm holding it. Go under the first strand, pull the second strand through, twist my hook, and then pick up the strand that I have the tension on, yarn over, and pull it right through that little hole. And that would be like your chain one, but that's what secures it. If you have found this helpful, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, hit the subscribe button, and click all your notifications on so that you get notified whenever I put out a new video. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Till I see you again.